Right, Junior Techies, welcome to this video where we're going to be doing question 4 of the worksheet. My name is Mr. P. I'm taking you through this question as well as the other questions that relate to this section. If you haven't yet got yourself a copy of the worksheet and memorandum, I would suggest you do that. It just makes working through these questions just so much easier and you can get the best out of these videos. Right, so the first thing for us to do is to look at question 4, and I've only put this part of question 4 up on the screen at the moment because I want you to get into the habit of looking at context first. Before we approach the questions, we have to understand the context in which our questions are being asked. So looking at question 4, we read here that this diagram shows the hormones, and this is more than one, they're involved in the body's homeostatic control of metabolism. So there's a very key point to this question, the metabolism. Now already in your mind you should be thinking, what do I know about the body's homeostatic control of metabolism, particularly in how the glands function that we're given in this drawing. But now we don't really know yet because we haven't done a thorough analysis of the drawing yet. So looking at this drawing, we need to write down firstly what we know about metabolism and then see how we can link it to the drawing that we're looking at. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to write down what we know. So one, we know thyroxine is involved in the body's regulation of metabolism. We know that. We know that somewhere in this process TSH is involved, thyroid stimulating hormone, and we know that the two glands that are involved here, particularly in this homeostasis, is the pituitary gland and the thyroid gland. All right. Now, if you remember correctly, looking at what we've already studied in this section, we can link the hormone to the gland. And if we look at these two, we know that it's the pituitary gland that is responsible for the secretion of TSH, which is our thyroid stimulating hormone, and then the thyroid that is responsible for the secretion of our thyroxine. Right. Now on the image here we can see that there are arrows, and we need to make special note of these because they're acting in certain directions. All right, so here we can see that we've got arrows down from the brain, and there's a particular part of the brain that's referenced here, but we'll wait with that. We know that the brain, we have hormone A moving downwards to gland X, and then from gland X, there are arrows back up to the brain for hormone B. Right, now, let's look at this hormone here, this hormone A. So less of hormone A would mean that gland X would be less stimulated. More of hormone A would mean gland X would be more stimulated. So that's the first thing to understand here. So we've got more and we've got less of hormone A. And then, moving a little bit further, you can see here, referring to hormones A and B, moving up towards the brain, we've got more or less of hormone B in each of those respective circles. So, if we had to try and identify each of these glands, this gland over here towards the brain would be the pituitary gland. Now, we should know that from studying the nervous system and the different parts of the brain. That's where we're going to find our pituitary gland, and the gland X over here would be the thyroid gland. Because we're talking about metabolism and thyroxine, we should link gland X to thyroid gland straight away. Right, so what does this all mean for us? Well, looking at the interactions here, we've got a very nice overview of how this homeostatic control would probably work. We can see that TSH is moving from the pituitary gland, so in other words, we're looking at hormone A, to the thyroid gland. Then we're looking at thyroxine, which would be hormone B, that is going to be moving from the thyroid gland back to the pituitary gland. Right, so now we've got some good context to work with. Let's have a look at the questions. So, 4.1. Identify the gland that secretes hormone A. So we're moving away from the brain with hormone A, which means the gland is present in the brain, and here we're looking at the pituitary gland. If we look at 4.2, identify gland X, that would mean that the hormone A, and remember through my context I've identified hormone A as thyroid stimulating hormone, gland X I can refer to then as the thyroid gland. If we look at question 4.3, identify hormones A and B respectively, well, I need to make sure that I link A with the hormone, B with the hormone. So answering this question is super important. And I would say hormone A is TSH, or thyroid stimulating hormone, and hormone B would be my thyroxine that is moving from the thyroid gland in the blood, in the circulation, then back to the pituitary gland. Name one function of hormone B for 1 mark. So this is a pretty straightforward mark, and the answer is pretty much given to us in the context that hormone B, being thyroxine, has a very, very important role to play in the regulation of metabolism. It does have a few other roles as well. So we're looking at its role in heart and digestive function, brain development, bone health, and muscle control. But in the context of this question, that deals with metabolism, the hormone B regulates this. It regulates the metabolism. So that is the one that we are actually looking for in the answer to this question. All right, Junior Tikkies, I hope us working through this question has given you some good insight into how to approach questions like this. Like I said before, if you don't already have the worksheet and the worksheet memorandum, I would suggest you get your hands on that, as well as the theory booklet. You'll get some good practice from the worksheet, and the theory booklet will help you prepare adequately for your final exam at the end of the year. Right, I do hope to see you again, Junior Tikkies. Thanks for joining, and good luck.